Think of the difference in the mindset, Chris. If the Rams had managed to get a 2-score lead.
They don't call Tutu out of bounds,
who's a
right?
statue.
Yeah.
Yeah. You've got a quarterback who's a statue. You've got Aaron Donald and others coming after him. That's how 40-0 happens, folks. 40-0 doesn't mean that this team that won is dramatically better and in a different stratosphere of the sport than the other. It's just a couple of things happen early, and then the dam breaks because it becomes much easier to defend that offense. That's where the Bengals ended up with their defense once they got the 2-score lead, and the Rams couldn't do anything, and Stafford couldn't get away from the pressure, and they couldn't keep the pressure away from him. That's what would have happened to Joe Burrow. He would have had no time to do anything, but they hung around. They found some spark in the running game. Joe Mixon's numbers, as you said, weren't great, 65 yards, but he was running hard with purpose, effectively getting first downs.
Yep.
There was one play where he just kind of willed his way. There were a couple times where he willed his way to a first down, scored that touchdown on second and third effort. That's what the Bengals needed to have, a complete team effort in order to win the game. Here's the 2nd and 6 play that just popped for the touchdown. He had other just kind of hard-nosed runs, guy who just kind of bulled into the line and pushed the pile and got to where he needed to be. That's what helped the Bengals with no touchdown passes last night from Joe Burrow. Look, I don't know how much stock to put in the passer rating stat, but it's the only stat that's been around for as long as I've been following football to give us an idea of what a quarterback is doing. And it used to be that 80 or 90 was pretty good. Now all the good quarterbacks are over 100, over 110, frankly. Joe Burrow last night was 59.8. No touchdown passes, one interception. It's a combination of completion percentage, yards per attempt, touchdown percentage based upon your number of throws, and interception percentage based on your number of throws. And they put it in a formula and they give you a number. 59.8 is bad. That's bad for an NFL quarterback today as it relates to his overall passing efficiency for the night. He distributed the ball. They made things happen. They woke up after a slow start, but you take away that mobility, that threat of moving around, that ability to extend plays, and he's not the guy that he ordinarily is. So good for the Bengals to have that total team effort and get the win over the Rams. Before I pivot to something I want to say about the Rams, I got a funny email from our good friend Mary, the Eagles fan who lives in Atlanta.
Oh, yeah.
She's upset we didn't do our 10 minutes of BS at the top of the show. Hey, blame it on ESPN and the NFL for giving us 2 games that we have to talk about. We got a lot to do. This is one of those 10 pounds of crap in a 5-pound bag show. So we didn't have time to BS. I barely had time to make that point. Okay, what did you think of fourth quarter, just over 6 minutes left? Rams have 4th and 5 in their own territory, and they're down 10, and they punt. To me, that's the old, let's not make this look worse than it's going to look in the newspaper move, where 19-9 could become 22-9 or 26-9 if you just give them the ball back there because you don't have faith in your offense to gain the 5 yards. So you punt.
Yeah.
And I mean, because at the end of the day, what it comes, hey, they got the touchdown. Well done. All right, you showed that you can score a touchdown. But they can't. Who can recover an onside kick? If you're going to pin your hopes on an onside kick recovery, you're already screwed because the chances of that working out. The Rams, they said last night, haven't recovered an onside kick in 11 years. And this new rule that they put in a few years ago, and they try to tweak it. It's too hard to recover an onside kick that should not be part of your analytics process. You have the ball down 10 with 6 minutes left. It's 4th and 5. Whatever the formulas tell you, whatever you think is the right thing to do, if the other option is, well, we can still score, get an onside kick, and score again, just throw that one away because you ain't getting the onside kick recovery. It's not happening. You got the ball 4th and 5. You're down 10. You got enough time to score and get the ball back. If you can stop them once, do that. Well, that was my thought. What did you think when they decided to punt? Down 10 with 6 minutes left.
All right. So when it happened, I was sitting there going, okay, wait, are they going to go for it here, 4th and 5? I mean, the offense, as we know, had really sputtered at that moment, right? They weren't capable of doing anything there for, I don't know, it felt like at least a quarter and a half to that point where you went, man, they got nothing going on at all. Like you said just a few minutes ago, they couldn't protect him at all. They couldn't run. Tutu Atwell big plays had disappeared. You could tell that wasn't going to happen. So I thought, okay, wait, are they going to go for it? And then, if they don't get it, just go, hey, I hope we can hold them to a field goal and it'd still be 22-19 there. Well, okay, they did that, but they probably looked at it there and just said, well, what's the chances of now us scoring 2 touchdowns to try to win the football game? So I think they took the approach of, hey, wait, our defense has been pretty good tonight. Their offense, it ain't been pretty. We've been close a few times, tipping passes and things, and the ball's got in the air, and we didn't intercept it. So I think they looked at it and said, let's see if our defense can make one more stand here and maybe make a play or whatever, and we could get the ball back and maybe score quickly, and Stafford can make a big throw and maybe have a little wiggle room. But, yeah, you're still going to have to kick that onside kick because if I remember correctly, right, they were maybe had one more timeout still when they punted that ball? Maybe I'm wrong.
Yes.
Yeah, right? They had
one left.
more.
One left.
Right. So I'm guessing.
All the more reason to keep the ball.
Yeah.
You've got the ball. It's 4th and 5. It's not 4th and 15. It's 4th and 5. That's a makeable down for a first down.
It is.
You're the Rams, Sean McVay,
sure.
high-powered offense, greatest show on turf 2.0. I know they don't have, and I'm being sarcastic because they're not what they were 2 years ago, but it's 4th and 5. And we saw what happened. It worked. The plan worked. Oh, we'll hold the Bengals. We'll get the ball back. We'll score a touchdown. And now all we need is the onside kick. But you can't pin your hopes on recovering an onside kick. I'd rather go for it 4th and 5. That's my point. Okay, if I go for it and I keep this drive alive and I score, I don't have to rely on an onside kick. I can get a stop and get the ball back and try to tie the game. Versus, all right, we're going to give them the ball back. They're going to take some time off the clock. We only got one timeout. There isn't much we can do. We get the ball back. We have enough time to maybe get a touchdown, onside kick, field goal, overtime. Yeah, all makes sense. Except you ain't recovering the onside kick. So keep the freaking ball at 4th and 5. Go all in there. It just makes me think Sean McVay and the Rams did not want to have it become 26-9. And it feels like you got your ass kicked at 26-9. And they ended up with 19-16. Looks like a close game. Doesn't look bad. Almost covered the spread and didn't even have to kick a meaningless field goal with 4 seconds left to do it. So I feel like there's a lot. And what a shock. Perception is reality in Los Angeles, where Hollywood is. I just feel like there was some of that fugazi. Let's try to bake a better final score versus let's try to win the game. And maybe they just thought there's no way we're going to win anyway. So this other strategy at least gives us a chance to keep it closer than letting the Bengals score another touchdown. I mean, I don't want to go too far down the rabbit hole, but to me, I think that's the only explanation because pinning your hopes to an onside kick is foolish.
Yeah, it is. It's tough this day and age. I mean, it is. You're right. It changes the dynamic. I don't look at it and go, it's an egregiously bad decision. Like I said, I could see the logic in it. But like, yeah, it's like pretty, it's predicated on them making a quick stop, getting the ball and scoring or putting points on the board quickly, and that's what it's predicated on. And, hey, the stop and get a turnover, whatever, I can understand your logic and wanting to ride the defense there. Now, are we going to score quickly and do something off of that? That's a whole nother conversation, which we had seen that there was, it wasn't very easy to do for the Rams there. So, yeah, in modern day football, I would have been like you, I think, when it comes down to it. I would have probably been like, yep, we got to go for it here. It's go time. Who cares if it's 26-9? And you try to make something happen because, yeah, like you were saying, with the way the onside kick rules are set up, it's really tough. Or here's the other thing that I was kind of thinking, too, as they were getting along. Like, when you only have one timeout left and you're getting close to the 2-minute warning, here's the other thing at times where, the onside kick thing's a real issue like you're talking about. Kick a field goal. Instead of wasting all the time to get down inside the 5 and do all of that, like sometimes I think you just go, hey, let's just knock 3 of the points off right now. We'll kick the ball off. We got the 2-minute warning. We still got a timeout, and we might get the ball back with a minute and 20 seconds left and then try to do something. That was the other thing that came to my mind as I was watching the end of the game, Mike.
Hey, that was part of the word salad that McVay offered up last week when he was finally asked about kicking a meaningless field goal that covered the spread against the 49ers. And that was one of our biggest stories of the week based upon traffic and video views and whatnot. The idea that they were down 10, the spread was 7.5, 4 seconds left, they kicked the field goal. He said, well, we were in the mindset that we were going to kick the field goal, do the onside kick, and try to score a touchdown. And I don't know, at some point his brain short-circuited and he decided to kick the field goal anyway when he knew there was no way to get the ball back. But that was part of the mindset. He was going to take the field goal. And, Chris, that could have been the plan last night until they hit the long throw to Puka Nacua that sets them up first and goal on the doorstep. Because at that point, you just could have brought out Brett Maher and taken the 3, right?
Well, yeah.
Instead of burning off more clock, take the 3 and onside kick it then.
Well, this is where I was thinking right here.
Hinges.
Yes, right. That was the moment I thought about when they went 4th and 3 and scrambled, and I went, I might think about kicking the field goal there. If we could rewind it, guys, just real quick, if you don't mind. To the play where he scrambles on 4th and 3, a little bit more than this right here. There we go. This is perfect, right? So here, this is what it crossed my mind. Oh, okay. And I know this isn't easy.
That's a 57-yarder, though.
Well,
that's a 57-yarder.
He slid to the 30-yard line. That would have been a 47-yarder.
No, wait. So you meant right after
the 4th and 3.
Spike it, clock it. Wait. You're saying, hang on. You're saying after the 4th and 3 or before the 4th and 3?
No, after the 4th and 3. Yes, after the 4th and 3, you got it. Now he slides with 2 minutes and 30-something seconds left. Clock the ball, kick the field goal. Okay, I know it's going to be a 48-yarder. It's not going to be easy. And then let's kick the ball off and use the 2-minute warning and the timeout. See, right here, this is what I'm talking about, Mike. All right, so he slides to about the 32. No. That's where I started to think about it.
It'd have been a 50-yarder.
Yeah.
That makes sense. That makes sense. But again, what does it all hinge on? Recovering an onside kick, which your organization hasn't done in 11 years, which no one has done successfully so far this season, because in the efforts to make the kickoff safer, they have made it harder to recover onside kicks. And 4th and 15 play, these are moments where the 4th and 15, if you truly root for the team that's trailing to have a chance to win, which is what Roger Goodell admitted a decade ago. That's who he roots for, the team that's trailing. You come up with an easier way for that team to pull off what we're talking about. You're down 10. There isn't much time left. You're limited on timeouts. You got to get 3, then 7, or 7, then 3. The onside kick is not a good plank in that strategy.
No, you can't think of the big onside kick. Ball. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't. But we're still wired.
Yeah, to think that way.
Oh, yeah, well, you can recover the onside kick. And then we look at the numbers. Well, but there's still a chance. Maybe we'll recover it this time. And then they do the onside kick last night, and the thing didn't even – it was like, under what circumstances was that kick going to be recovered? And I know it's not easy to do, but when that's your only job and the kickers are just hanging around practice, wouldn't you be doing everything you could to perfect the onside kick? And maybe there's nothing you can do. Maybe that's the reality. You can't control this oblong ball that has a mind of its own. You just hope for the best. You hope you're going to get a good bounce. You hope it's going to carom off someone's shoulder pads, and you're just going to get lucky. But it just kind of proves my point. You're pinning your hopes to luck. You're pinning your hopes to pulling a needle out of the haystack when you had the ball, 4th and 5, 6 minutes left, and you could have maintained that drive, and you could have just kicked off, stopped the Bengals, if you were able to, like they did after they punted, get the ball back and try to tie it up or maybe even win the game. That, to me, is the more rational approach. And I can't help but wonder whether or not Sean McVay at some level was concerned about how 26-9 would look versus, hey, maybe even if this doesn't fully work out, the final score will be 19-16. And that looks a little bit better. It doesn't look like I got my.
I don't think so. There, I don't. That's where I'm.
There are coaches. There are coaches. There are coaches who are thinking, man, well,
damage control is a part of this. Yeah,
score a touchdown.
Yeah, damage control is always a real thing. I don't think Sean McVay was thinking of that at that moment. I think
he just made a bad decision.
I think he made a bad decision. I think
he should have kept possession.
Again, I think he's thinking, I'm going to punt it. they're going to go 3 and out, and we're going to get the ball back in the next, minute and a half. And unfortunately for them, like 3 minutes or a little less than 3 minutes went off the clock. And, that put them in a really tough
they
spot.
had one timeout left.
I know.
They only had one timeout. What are you going to do?
No,
they're going to run the ball.
It's limited. I think they were hoping that maybe they could make a play, get them behind the chains, maybe get them to throw a pass on one of the plays to where they could create a completion and do it that way. That would be what I would be guessing is their logic is. But that's, again, it's tough. And then,
it's all premised on recovering an onside kick. That's the point. We need to get past this idea that we're going to have an analytics-based strategy that hinges on recovering an onside kick, because the onside kicks are not going to be recovered. Look at that thing.
But if they get the stop and get it quick,
middle of the night.
If they get a stop and get something quick or somewhat quick and get points before the 2-minute warning, he's thinking maybe I don't have to kick an onside kick, and I got the 2-minute warning and a timeout. But it's far-fetched. But also, what was bad on top of that?
You got the ball 4th and 5. Keep the ball.
That we didn't hit on too is when they get down to the 3-yard line, you can't run the ball on first down either. That was another part where you're going, what the game's ticking away here. You can't run the ball at all. They make the play to Nakua, and they run the ball up the middle. That was kind of egregiously wrong as well. But hey, the Rams, they battle. We know that they played tough. They're not as good as the Cincinnati Bengals. They're surprising me in the fact of how competitive they've been, really, as a 1-2 football team. It's been impressive. It has. And, that certainly can be questioned. There's no doubt about it. In 2023 football, in that situation, to all the things you laid out, and then, of course, the rules being the way they are and how much they favor the offense and everything anyways, you go for it in that situation, 19-9, 6 minutes left. If you really want to have a think, you got a legit chance to win the football game with one timeout left. Yeah, I think, what you're saying is still the right play.
Even if they kick the field goal after that first down run by Stafford, it was going to require an onside kick recovery because they had no timeouts at that point. The 2-minute warning was, and I mean, maybe they would have gotten the goal back like the Raiders did the other night with 10 seconds left or something like that. And what can you do with that when the defense has already put the clamps on you? You're not going to go 80 yards in 10 seconds. But I'm looking at this now on the next play, and you got to be getting your plays off faster than this. They get that first down, and
they still had a timeout
20
there.
20 seconds until the next play.
Yeah,
they'd already used the timeout. They used the timeout after the third down on the Rams drive. On the Bengals drive after the punt. They had to use the third timeout there because the Bengals were milking the clock, right?
They used the timeout number 3 when Joe Burrow kneeled the first time at the end of the game. That was the first time.
Okay, you're right.
Yeah,
they still had one. They could have used it then.
Yeah.
Because I'm looking at this. They took a sack after Stafford scrambled for the first down.
That hurt it. Yeah.
And that play started with 2:21. They did not get another play off before the 2-minute warning, and that it just they were trying to thread. Our point here is in belaboring this because look, these decisions are made in the moment, in the crucible, real time. There's only so much you can plan for it ahead of time. But it just I didn't see the path out of the maze.
I hear you there.
Once they waved the white flag with 6 minutes left and punted when they still had the ball, 4th down and 5. We have this revolution of going for it on 4th down because the analytics support this and support that. And we're still factoring into the broader approach to the game the possibility of recovering an onside kick, which doesn't work. It's broken. It doesn't work. Why are you relying upon that in your formulation of a strategy to come back and win? Forget about the onside kick. That's the last ditch, break glass in event of emergency option, and the glass isn't going to break. And if it does, it's just a fluke. That's where it is. Recovering an onside kick at this point is a fluke, period. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.